Proverbs 4, 1 through 13. This is a father's wisdom. I would do my best to honor all fathers that have feared God's concepts, precepts, and laws, teaching their children the Word of God. Let the pen be my witness upon the tablets of my confessions and writings. Let me communicate my sins, hope, and fears without fear of my earthly father, as well as our heavenly one. For if we fear our earthly father to scorn or despise him, how then can we go to our prayer closet and be of total sincerity and of a pure heart and conscious mind to our heavenly one? So I say the hand of correction my Father witnesses of me has a regret it did not come down more often and harsh. No, not in abuse, as this present sinful world would teach, but with the surety that fathers and sons in my land are a few and a rarity, to be seen communicating, eating, working, singing, and most importantly, when the sons are of a ripe age, mature enough to understand what love is, to gain sons of their own, to greet each other, to say farewell to each other. With such love in their hearts, discipline to a son with the hand of a correction is but a pruning shear to the beauty of an oak seedling. The shearing, if done in a discerning way, that has been planted not in the shadows, but, I say, in a wide open field upon fertile ground, where sunlight can strike it all the day long. In its time in life it eventually brings birds to sing, children to climb, leaves to be pressed in God's law and its word, and shade to the four-legged beast as well as the weary traveler. And if the giant oak be cut down properly after it stood proud for over 100 or hundreds of years, may it produce a chair, a table, or even a footstool, where it can be cut and sheared and polished again, and I say over again, so that the rings of its life can be witnessed by all whom understand this parable. Rings in which during the oak's lifetime rings out to the ground, the earth, and finally the final resting place by the fire of the one who created it, to be used eternally and forever as a resting place for the feet of the Father, whom, in his own time and conscience, gives the stool a look of satisfaction. As his heels come up, he reflects on what his father 4 or so generations ago must have been thinking. Then, as a son jumps onto the lap of the father's lap, the two legs retract from on top of the stool, and the loving embrace takes hold just for a moment. The arms are once again as branches. Birds sing, the children laugh and climb, the beast bends its fores and hinds in its shade, and the weary traveler scratches his head, and he looks up and says, "Whomever planted you must have done it for me." As he takes a long satisfying rest and drink, he reflects on his father's stool, the fire that kept him warm as he begins to cool. Then suddenly, from the east, a satisfying wind blows. The bird wings cut through the wind, and this, coupled with the branches being blown, a ring-like sound is heard. The weary traveler's feet now rest on the ground. The father's heels go back to the stool that is perfectly polished and round. Like the rings under the polished shine, perfect harmony, peace, and love between a father and son is finally found. As the weary traveler rests under the shadow of the giant oak tree that was planted upon fertile yet solid ground. Composed by Travis Lilly, October 2015.